Hi friends, hope you are doing well. I'm Dr. Ganguly. Welcome to my channel. So today I will answer a question about multidisciplinary research, and this is a type of research which is gaining ground in most universities and research centers. And what you try to do here is that you try to work on problems which involve several disciplines. So of course multidisciplinary research has been there for a long time. For example, in certain fields you have concepts such as multidisciplinary design and optimization, and this is related to designing of any kind of systems. For example, if you are designing an aircraft, a spacecraft, or a drone, you have to take recourse to different subjects such as fluid mechanics, solid mechanics, control, propulsion, and so on. And what happens is that experts in these fields are often unidimensional experts, and somebody needs to bring these people together so that this entire system can be designed. Now, this kind of work has been going on for some time, but what has happened in recent years is that it's not just within a particular department that you want to have collaboration, it is beyond certain departments. So, you may actually have research where medical sciences is converging with, for example, machine learning, deep learning in computer science, where you are essentially mixing social science with math, or you are doing some mix of mechanical engineering and computer science, for example, in fields such as robotics. So, multidisciplinary research is going on in many places, and this is certainly a very good thing. Now, I'm going to discuss 6 positive aspects about multidisciplinary research, how this can boost you. And the seventh aspect is actually a negative aspect which you need to keep in mind, especially if you are a PhD student or a postdoc. So, let's begin. Now, the number one thing has to do with collaboration, and one of the things which multidisciplinary research requires is that you collaborate with somebody else. So, very often, if you are doing a large system level problem, a real world problem, then you do not have the skill set to actually solve this problem on your own. So, what you need to do is get together with some experts in the field who are from different domains. And what this does is that it fosters collaboration. This can be within the department, it can be outside the department, it can be across universities, it can be across countries, and so on. So very often you will see that some kind of research proposals are written by people from different universities, even different countries, and these are in the realm of multidisciplinary research. So essentially you are pooling the knowledge expertise of many people, and therefore you are getting something new out of this research. So this brings me to the second point, which has to do with creativity. And very often creativity can very simply be triggered by multidisciplinary activities. So essentially this is something like lateral thinking. You may be thinking in a certain way, but a person coming from a different field will have a different thought process, and he or she will bring a different dimension to your research. So essentially what happens, the moment you think in terms of multiple disciplines, you give a boost to creativity. You are part of out of the box thinking, and so on. There may be different methods which have been used in different disciplines which you do not know of, and you can apply it to your own discipline, and vice versa. So there are many possibilities which come out of doing any kind of multidisciplinary research. Now, the third issue has to do with motivation. And very often, what happens in research, especially in one single domain, is that people get bored and jaded after some time. So, there are people who are doing their PhD in a certain problem, say in computational methods, and what they do is over the large period of their life, they simply keep refining this particular method. So add some term here and there, they change the functions, the basis functions, and so on, and they keep writing papers. But what happens is that their own life becomes very boring, and the life of their students can become even more boring. So one of the ways to get out of this kind of boredom is to do multidisciplinary research. Maybe the problem you have been working on, the methods you have been developing are of great use in a different discipline, and so if you team up with colleagues from that discipline, you will be capable of publishing much better papers, and you will get rid of this boredom which is plaguing you and your research lab. So the next point has to do with the outcomes in problem solving. And like I mentioned before, many real world problems cannot be solved by single discipline method. So if you are looking more at outcome focused research, which is what most people nowadays want to fund, then certainly multidisciplinary research is going to help you, because you are going to need different methods, different disciplines to address any problem. So for example, if you are trying to develop an unmanned vehicle, or you are trying to develop a drone, then you not only need to know things about flight vehicles, you also need to know about computer science, you need to know about control theory, and you may need to know things about noise prediction. You may need to know how the people in the community are going to take it, the fact that drones are flying around all the time. So that brings us to social sciences and so on, even psychology. So these things become important when any real world problem is going to be solved. Now, the fifth issue is more practical, and that has to do with publications. And what happens is that the moment you have more than one discipline involved, there are many more possibilities in terms of publication, because there are many journals out there which are devoted to system level problems. And all these journals then are likely to be more receptive to your paper. Now, if you are publishing in one narrow field, for example, in fluid mechanics for your entire life, then you will find that it's going to become progressively difficult to publish in this field, because these fields have become very saturated. But if you add some kind of multidisciplinary aspect to this field, maybe you are using machine learning to solve some fluid mechanics problem, or you are doing fluid mechanics of some kind of biological system, maybe blood flow, then your papers are going to be published with much greater speed. So this is something to keep in mind, that you may actually have to do less work and get more out of the research if you do multidisciplinary research. So this is something which motivates many people to get into these kind of disciplines. Now, the sixth point has to do with citations, and it has been found that most of the multidisciplinary research topics are relatively hot. That means the journals love it, and therefore these papers get published faster. There are more researchers working in these fields, so there is more citation of this kind of work. Now, there is also proof out there that research where many people work together, where there is collaboration across departments, across countries, these tend to get cited more because they are part of larger networks out there. So you not only benefit from your own network, but you expand your network out, and these Venn diagrams essentially come together. And so what happens is that more people may cite your work. So that is certainly possible. Your citations may go up and your H index may go up, and you may be recognized as a better type of researcher. Now that brings me to the last point, the seventh point, which is a negative aspect of this kind of research. And this has to do more with the recruitment process for PhDs when they apply for assistant professor jobs. So what happens in many selection committees is that there are some senior professors who are very traditional in their thinking, and when they see the person has worked across several disciplines, maybe he has applied machine learning principles to material science, maybe he has worked on social sciences as well as mathematics, then they feel that this person may have spread himself too thin. So this is something which can happen every now and then, is that certain people in the selection committee may not like a person who has done a multidisciplinary PhD. Now this has been declining over the years, but it is still there. Make it a point that you own all the aspects of the research if you do any kind of multidisciplinary research. So for example, if you are working on something which deals with material science and machine learning, you are expected to know things about material science as well as machine learning. So sometime what happens, PhD students, candidates may say that they only know about material science, somebody else did the machine learning part, and this does not come across very well in some of the committees out there, and some of the traditionalists in the university system do not like this kind of reply. So make it a point that if you do multidisciplinary work during your PhD, you own all the aspects of the research, spend some time learning about all the different things you are doing. If you are using any kind of neural networks, know about that. If you are using any kind of computational algorithm, learn about that. And if you are a social scientist who is doing some math, then make sure you know the math. You simply don't say that you have used some toolbox such as Statistica or Mathematica or something like that.